with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nicolas. He's going to talk about the past couple years in his journey with open metadata and providing services through the governance that he's been able to realize with our open source project. Thank you. Please take it away, Nicolas.
Okay, thank you very much, Nick. Let me share my screen. Please tell me if you can see it. Can you see me?
Let's see here.
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's begin with it. Thank you in the first place to all of you for letting me share with you with this my experiences in the last 2 years with open metadata and in La Diputación de La Coruña. And let me tell you what did we do in these 2 years and what we will do in the future. So in the first time, a brief presentation. My name is Nicolás Gutiérrez. I'm the project manager for data governance at EDNON, company specialized in advanced technology solution that supports public and private organizations in their digital transformation processes. From EDNON, we will contribute with expertise in data governance, data management, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity, helping our clients to make more informed and secure decisions. In this open metadata meetup organized by Collate, I will share with you our 2-year experiences in implementing data governance initiatives at the Diputación de La Coruña, a project in which we have used open metadata as a key platform to structure, catalog, and govern information assets effectively and in a sustainable way. Okay, let me tell you what La Diputación de La Coruña is. La Diputación de La Coruña is a supra-council public administration that provides technical, economic, and administrative support to the councils in the province, especially the smaller ones. Its functions include the management of local infrastructures, the social services, the economic development, culture and sports, and innovation and e-government. To do all of that things, the Diputación de La Coruña is used mainly two big applications to enhance the citizen interaction and to improve administrative efficiency. The applications are Subtel, based in a database in an Oracle. That's an electronic processing platform that allows councils and citizens to manage grants, plans, and aid digitally. We've got by now cataloged 8 schemas, 620 tables, and less of the 1% was documented. And the other one big application is the registry. That's an electronic platform of the General Registry that enables the submission of documents, requests, and communications regarding provincial procedures available 24/7. By now, we've got cataloged 4 schemas, 411 tables, and none of them are documented. Okay. The main gaps, the main challenge we found in this project. So the first one was the information silos. As I told you before, the documentation barely exists. Remember that less of the 1% of the tables scanned were documented. Another one is the lack of traceability. We know where the data is, but we don't know where it came from. There are no glossaries, no business terms. They have a lack of trust in data. For example, we found reference table repeated in different schemas, the same tables for countries, the same tables for villages, the same tables for organisms, events. And we have a very big technical dependency. The knowledge of the data model is limited to a few people in the organization. So, objectives and the decision. The Diputación to set out to professionalize its data management with a clear focus on building a common metadata infrastructure, improving quality, traceability, and understanding of public information, creating a shared language for data across functional areas, and laying the foundation for sustainable data governance aligned with regulatory compliance and public efficiency improvement. So we make our checks on very different governance tools, and we make our proposal to the La Diputación, and La Diputación choose open metadata because of it's very flexible, it's very adaptable to the changing reality of the organization, it's extensible in order to connect with current and future data sources. It has a very easy integration with Oracle, Postgres, ClickSense, Superset, and all the data sources they have in the client. It supports technical and business metadata. It has got a very powerful APIs and a very powerful Python framework to gives you a high control over the application without depending on the web UI. It's user-oriented and with a high usability. It's open source. We are a very fan of open source product, and our clients are too, and it's agile. So at this point, let me take a break to tell you our main lines of work in 2 sentences. The first is to obtain, by the technical part, to obtain robust and validated documentation of the Diputación data sources used in Subtel and in the registry. And the second one is the business part. At the same time, we want to develop the glossaries and business terms related to these documented assets. Okay, told everything. Let me show you our first milestones in our first years. In the first place, in the 2023, the first milestone, as you can imagine, was the installation, the deployment of the application in the client infrastructure. We tested, we installed it in our computers, and we did it in 1 day, and it took us 2 days to install it in the client infrastructure. The first one to install it in the pre-production environment, and the second one to make it install in the production environment. The second milestone was the integration with the main sources, Oracle for the application Subtel and Postgres for the registry. The third one was the initial definition and organization of the business glossary. And the last one for the 2023 year was the definition and approval of data modeling policies and procedure. Let me take a break in this last point. What was the challenges? The challenges that lead us to implement that policies. The challenges were the information silos, the poor documentation, and the poor documentation of fields and tables. What did we do? The implementation of that initial policies and procedures. Very easy, 3 politics, and very easy to implement and to understand. The first one, the documentation of catalog objects. All the objects catalog must be documented by the technical team and approved by the data stewards. Our second policy defined was the deletion of empty tables and fields. All the tables or fields with no content should be deleted. The third policy was the creation of primary or foreign keys. All fields uses primary foreign keys must be defined in the model. And the procedure was that each catalog table is reviewed, assigned tags and tasks for documentation, deletion, or key definition. And after the task is managed by the technical data steward, an approval task is created for this data steward to approve and execute. Okay. Moreover, monthly tables with this tag are listed, and notifications are sent to the owners with the list of the pending task. Right? This was, as I told you before, our main milestones in the 2023. In the 2024, the milestones defined were the implementation of curation flows, workflows for the management and approval of tasks and documentation, classification, and quality were defined with the team of data stewards. The integration with BI tools, ClickSense in this case, we made a full report cataloging with lineage and democratization mechanisms via the data office. And the third one was the data source documentation. In this data source documentation, we achieved the automation with Python and advanced use of the API for metadata dumps. We will talk about this later. And the key milestones for the 2025 was the translation to OpenMetadata to Galicia. That's a task, I'm very proud of it. The KPIs governance. Our task defined to governance the KPIs are to define KPIs as a business terms. We are working on it. To catalog and govern KPIs data sources, to build a complete lineage, and to the democratization of the KPIs through OpenMetadata. And our first main milestone in the 2025 is use AI for integration for discovery and documentation processes. For example, we will use AI to make a pre-documentation of data models, to make a glossary analysis and proposal of missing or new terms, and to make quality rule automations, and to construct the lineage for non-supported models. Okay, these were our main milestones in the past 2 years, and in this year we are currently in. And let me show you a few numbers, just one number with you, because I'm running a bit out of time. As you remember, as I told you in the first slides, the documentation, the tables documented were less than 1%. Right now, we have documented more than 41 tables in all the schemas, in all the schemas we have scanned. I think for us, that's a big achieve, a big goal we get, and we are growing every day. Okay, talking about use cases, let me show you the second one. Is that it is the documentation of data source modelings. We take the data, the approved data from open metadata to database models. The challenges was to avoid the technical dependency, and the solution was the injection, the open metadata approved documentation of tables and fields into data source. How did we do it? With 4 steps, 4 easy steps. The first one is with documentation. All tables and fields are documented in open metadata exhaustively, even adding entity relationships diagrams to facilitate the understanding. Second step is the approval. Once documented, approval tasks are created. The third step is the collection. Once approved, a Python framework is used with open metadata APIs to collect this documentation from open metadata. We get the approved definition, the approved terms, and collected it. And the last one is the injections. Once collected, data is validated, documentation scripts are generated and injected into the data sources. This is this last step. This approach ensures that documentation is always aligned, centralized, and accessible for both the data catalog and the storage platform, facilitating its use to developers, maintenance, and auditing of the model. And let me share with you our last 3 use cases. The first of all is the data office staff of approval for BI. Our challenge was to ensure the quality of the company's reporting and democratize them to avoid departmental silos. And we did it with a list of custom properties for the reports that are defined and must be periodically validated and reported by the owners to guarantee aspects such as quality, freshness of its data, distribution, etc. After that, once these properties are reported, they are reviewed by the data office, who assigns the approval level and announces it in open metadata from its democratizations. With this, we get the first four reports democratized the last week. Then the use case number 4 is the auto documentation for Postgres database multi-tenant. The challenge is to document a multi-tenant database with the same table structure across its all schemas for all the councils. I'm talking about 80 councils, about 500 schemas, and something like 150 or 600 tables. A lot of objects to document. In other hand, another challenge is that the name and fields of the tables are encoded according to their content and functions, which complicates any new analysis or any new development. So what can we try to do? What are we going to try to do? We will use AI to analyze tables and to generate their documentation, and we will teach the AI to use open metadata Python framework to generate the validation and approval task for this documentation by the data stewards. You could remember this graphic when we first established our first workflow, and now our goal is to use the EA with the framework Python and with the APIs to make the first pre-documentation, and after that to get it into the approval task. And our last use case for implementing this year is our master table and tables and quality. The challenge, as I told you before, we found similar reference tables like countries, events, organisms in different schemas, and the developments to replace this table for the master ones are difficult to integrate into the ongoing projects. So what are we going to do? We will develop in quality test between the master and the reference table in order to set the quality of the data in the reference table And we will send quality alerts to the data models and the project managers to prioritize the change of their models to use the master tables on it. That's in 15 minutes. It was my experience in the last 2 years with Open Metadata, our future goals we want to achieve. And that's all, my dear folks. Thank you very much, Nick. Thank you very much, Collate team, to let me share my experience with you. And you've got my name and my data. So any question, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicolas. That was excellent. Really exciting to see.